On today's episode of Homeworthy, we're on the eastern shore of Maryland visiting Phaedra Brown, who's known for posting beautiful photos of her home on her Instagram account, House and Garden Dog. Phaedra describes her style as layered, colorful, and traditional, all with an English influence. She loves the feeling of English country homes with their bold and sometimes unexpected blending of colors and patterns. Adding to the charm of her interiors is Phaedra's adorable West Highland Terrier, Wellie. Enjoy! You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story. Before today's episode, click the join button below to support all of the storytelling we do on this channel. Our growing community of members help to directly fund more videos so we can capture these extraordinary homes from around the world. So join today to receive early and exclusive access to new Homeworthy videos.
Hi Homeworthy, I'm Phaedra. Welcome to my home in Maryland. I want to show you around. Hi, my name's Phaedra Brown and my Instagram is House and Garden Dog. I came up with that because I wanted to show our house and my love for interiors and my garden. And Wellie, who's my little West Highland White Terrier, is kind of like the star of the show. And I sort of like it that way. He's kind of the face. So he's the official House and Garden Dog. So we're here on the eastern shore of Maryland. My husband and I have lived here for 14 years. This house was a spec house that the previous owners bought to live in temporarily, and they only lived here for a year and a half. So it was a very neutral foundation. It's on some water, and it's just was a great spot for us to sort of bring our own vision. I have a really collected, colorful look. I like a lot of English country and just like a open, colorful pattern play going on. We started off with more neutral base, and then I just slowly kept adding lots of color and pattern. And I wanted the house to feel really comfortable and welcoming, where people could just come in and, sit down and be comfortable. I didn't want it to feel too formal, and hopefully it feels really welcoming. I don't have any background in design. It's just something I've always loved doing. I got really into gardening, and it sort of translated into designing the interiors. And the more I started, buying and shopping and reading a ton of magazines and books, it just really became my passion. Welcome to our living room. This is one of the first spaces that you see when you first walk into our house. It's kind of a small angled space, so we ended up putting the sofa here in front of the window, which lots of times people say not to do, but it really helped the flow through the space. I added a little game table that is actually a desk, so you can do a couple of different things with it, but it works because it is adding to the same, conversation space, but yet it also functions a little bit separately. This mirror was my grandmother's, and it's been with me since my very first apartment. So it's always been in the living room. So I had to put it here. And we started off with the room being just kind of a neutral beige. And I decided I wanted to paint it this orangey color. My husband was worried it was going to look like we were living in a pumpkin pie, but actually, I really love it. He does too, and we get so many compliments on the color. I think it just makes everything just really warm and welcoming, and it actually is a great backdrop for art. We have a lot of gallery style, salon style hangings, and I like to collect vintage paintings, as well as some that we've had done of Wellie. We did a skirted table. I find them to be so useful. It's easy to have a different tablecloth made. This little painting of Wellie was done by Paintings by Az. She's in England, and she does an amazing job. I think she replicated Wellie just perfectly. These are just some of the collected pieces of art. This one was my parents, and it used to hang in my house when I was a kid. So it's a special piece. This is actually a fake fern. It's by Nearly Natural, and my mom tried to water it. So it's really faux real. This is one of my special Westie needlepoint pillows. I used to do a lot of work for Westie Rescue, and I won it at an auction. It's one of my favorites. This little secretary fits absolutely perfectly between the window and the corner, and I've accumulated a collection of tiny Westie items, and I like to put really small things inside of something so that they don't look too cluttery. So I do have a lot of little Westies sprinkled throughout and some miniature ginger jars. And pretty much everywhere you look, we have a ton of books. This is an antique Carice rug, and it's from Suzanne the Rug Dealer Shop. Suzanne and her husband, Mehdi, have become really good friends of ours because during COVID, I was hunting for a pair of vintage Persian rugs, which is very hard to find a pair. And they happen to have something that worked perfectly in the bedroom that I'll show you later. And bit by bit, they've helped me collect some really beautiful pieces for our home. And I think it's really just kind of transformed this space because of the color, and it just kind of helps tell a story throughout. They're just really great because you don't have to worry about like sort of spilling something or stepping on something. I think they just kind of like, you know, hide an accident. Not that we hopefully have any. This is part of the gallery wall that we've been working on. We just really enjoy finding different pictures and pieces of art that we have found at places when we're traveling. For example, this painting here is from Martha's Vineyard at a thrift store that we picked up and had framed. That one up there is an Instagram person that I saw, and I just had to have it, Ruthie McKenzie. These are from the Vintage Art Room, which is from Sweden, and Elaine has a fabulous collection, though I hate to give away all my secret sources. This one's from One Kings Lane. We picked that one up in Charleston. So it's sort of just a wonderful collection and color, and I just like to keep adding to it. This chessboard was a gift from my mom, and it's actually chinoiserie figurines, and it really just looks nice sitting here on the table, even if we're not playing, though we do play sometimes. This is a little bed of Wellies, and it's actually resting on a vintage rattan tray that we picked up someplace, and it fit perfectly, so it helps it from sliding around. This piece, as well as the desk, are from Stanella Antiques in Pennsylvania. It's another favorite shopping spot of mine. And this book here, A House in Maine, is kind of like a little joke inside because we recently purchased a house in Maine that my husband and I are in the process of renovating. And I am sharing some of that process on our Instagram account. This little pillow over here, I just couldn't pass up. Gardeners know all the best dirt. It just fits me perfectly. This lamp is a Maitland Smith lamp. I found it on eBay and I had to have it. I just love the size of it, and it just fits perfectly. I actually kind of imitated Christopher Spitzmiller. He has a similar setup with a lamp. Of course, mine's not a Christopher Spitzmiller, but I went with that style. And I think it looks great, kind of has all the colors in the room. This little handmade bear is from Mr. Barry Teddy, and I just think it's absolutely amazing that this was just handcrafted. And it just he looks so sweet sitting here. So, and his orange bow matches perfectly with the orange room. We always get a lot of questions about these stained glass doors. My parents actually commissioned them as an anniversary present. One of their neighbors and friends does stained glass, and she helped me come up with a design, and it's obviously 2 ginger jars. And so it's almost like a Gracie panel, if you will, except it's stained glass. And they're just really special, and we would never leave them behind if we move one day. So they lead into the sunroom, and it just kind of perfectly seems to set the tone for walking into the next room. So this is the sunroom, and I'm going to show you that next. Welcome to our sunroom. This is a 3-sided glass room that overlooks the garden, and we spend actually a ton of time in here. This is faces the front of the house, so we put this antique pine chest here to kind of give ourselves just a little bit more privacy. I love the knobs. They're old acorns that are carved. And this is a favorite lamp that I've had for ages and ages, but it is, it glows at night, and I just love the shade. These are flowers from the garden, some gladiolas and hydrangeas. These are a pair of Tommy Bahama chairs, have been with us since the beginning. I reupholstered them with this Jane Shelton Quentin fabric, which is one of my absolute favorite fabrics. I'm hoping to use the red colorway in Maine. The sofa here actually faces the television, and I put a quilt down because Wellie loves to sit on it. It's a wedding ring quilt, which usually has a scalloped edge, so I really like how it sits. But I would always recommend finding a really pretty quilt, a vintage quilt, to give you a little protection if you have a dog or kids. This pillow was a favorite just because it's a great flame stitch pattern. I just found a little remnant and had it made. This ottoman used to be green, and we recovered it with the animal print. One of my favorite things about the sunroom is the view of the garden. We have a small fenced area off of our deck that actually the previous owner put in because they also had a dog, and it worked out to be the most perfect spot for a perennial garden. And so I packed it absolutely full of plants. I have a habit of overplanting, which any experienced gardener will tell you shouldn't do. But it does make for a really exuberant cottage style look. So that's a favorite to see. And again, like another skirted table, it's moved all around the room. It used to be on the other side, and really easy to switch out and get just a really beautiful fabric that you love and have a tablecloth made. I always just buy the bases at Ballard and then just find a great fabric that I love. For the skirted tables, if you want to have one custom made, you just need to let the seamstress or the workroom know, and you may even be able to have it done at your dry cleaners, the diameter and then the height of the table and the drop. So then they can do a floor length one from that. So this is just a 36-inch wide, it's 30 inches tall. This pair of Chinese lamps is a favorite. I thought they just fit absolutely perfectly with the colors and the feel of the room. I used to collect sunburst mirrors. I had an entire wall of them in the living room before I switched to the gallery wall. So this is an old picture of Wellie as a puppy. And we don't have a ton of photos on display, but we do have a couple. And I try to keep a lot of plants going in the sunroom. I love a covered tissue box. I collect the vintage wicker ones when I find them online or, in thrift stores or something. This one actually came in this perfect shade of lilac. I have just a couple little figurines. I'm always stacking books and candles and just, little odds and ends. This was one of a pair, and sadly the other one broke. So it moved in here from the dining room. The cranberry glass really looks great against the window. I have a lot of pillows custom made. I like to hunt for vintage fabric. There's a couple of local shops that sell great brands like Vintage Schumacher and stuff. So I'm always looking for something that's a little different. I like to just pile it on, kind of the more the merrier, mixing and matching. And the same thing with the quilts. I think they add just like the perfect dose of color and comfort. And occasionally I like to find a vintage needlepoint piece. Sometimes it's just a needlepoint that I have made into a pillow. Sometimes I'm lucky enough to find an old needlepoint pillow. If that's the case, like this one, it was a pillow, but I had it redone so that I knew it was clean and good. The back was kind of grungy and I just wasn't sure. So better to be safe than sorry. I like to just randomly pop sometimes like little plates. We use them for coasters and stuff like that, and just, stack books. I like things with a scalloped edge, so like the quilt or this little table that I picked up. And The occasional piece of Wedgwood is kind of starting to make its way into our home. I have a lot of the blue pieces, but I recently picked up that little pink one, and I think it just, fits perfectly. I love lettuceware and cabbageware, so I'm always picking up little plates, covered dishes and stuff like this one here, and it just kind of like randomly goes wherever. I have a few candle scents that are kind of my go-to. This Claremont one is actually the Claremont Hotel up in Maine, and it smells so delicious. It's like the perfect seasonal scent. I do a lot of shopping. There's a great little local place that has a little bit of everything. I like to go thrifting because you never know what you might find. And I always say that, like, even if you just go and you find one little thing that costs 50 cents, it was a trip worthwhile. So you shouldn't overlook, some of those tiny things. And I have a tendency to buy not really having a spot for it, because I do believe that, eventually you will find a spot. And right now I am really, really fortunate enough to be able to start shopping for our house in Maine. So I have 2 storage units where we're, just kind of putting some really great finds. I've done some great shopping at the local Habitat Restore. I think it's great if you can support, different charities and find wonderful treasures, that belong to somebody. I always kind of feel sorry for, these beautiful pieces that somebody took so much time to make, quilts and blankets and stuff like that. And then you kind of wonder, like, what's going to happen to it one day. So, or art maybe also. So it's here. It's come home to live with us. Years ago, I found some old books from 1903, The Apples of New York. I grew up in New York, so it was kind of a special find. And I have built a little gallery wall with the plates from the book. Even though they're behind UV glass, they have faded quite a bit. And it's probably the 3rd go from the book. So I may have to try to hunt for another book so that I can refresh them. But it's just kind of like a little fun thing. This chair actually was an amazing find at a little junk shop years ago. It was $35. It was a horsehair chair that was completely tattered, and I had this great fabric. I have no idea who makes it, but it was just kind of a few yards of vintage fabric with these ginger jars on it. And I had it redone, like the whole chair, like kind of rebuilt. And it's just the prettiest fabric, I think. And I love this little side table. I'm always trying to find these little drinks tables. That was a tip from Bunny Williams. Always have a little table where somebody can rest a drink. And this one's kind of cool with the triangle shape. This little doorstop actually belonged to my grandmother. So it's just a special thing, and I think it fits perfectly with the flowers for the sunroom. And it props open the door that leads to our library office, and I'm going to take you there next. Welcome to our library, which is also our home office. I get a lot of work done here at the desk that overlooks the window. I have a lot of little personal things that I've collected on top of it. I have a thing for like little vintage watering cans and little tiny wheelbarrows. I have learned that the watering cans are a little easier to find, so I've gotten more selective, but the wheelbarrows are pretty tough. This is a little vintage Westie tray, which is a special find. That is actually my Angel Dempsey over there. Wellie's my 3rd Westie. And there's a picture of me with my parents and my dad. My dad passed away 7 years ago, so I like keeping him close to me, when I'm sitting here. Here's another skirted table. This one went a little all out with the pleats and the fringe. I absolutely love it, but I learned early on that it's a lot easier to have a more plain skirt made than this kind. This is a little pricier as far as the fabric goes. The mirrored top, I don't know why Ballard Designs, you don't make these anymore, was antique mirror top, was amazing. I have a lot of plants, and this particular plant loves to be in the corner. We went with another gallery style wall hangings here. This painting is a Peter Keel. My mom finds it terrifying. She thinks he looks like a scary clown, but I think it's kind of cool. That is a gray Malin photograph of an iceberg, I guess down in Antarctica, I believe. And then I have a lot of just pieces that I've collected, some needle points. This one over here is a special favorite because it came from France, and I had it framed. The mirror was an amazing find. My neighbor was moving, and she gave it to me for $10. This little settee just kind of fit right in. I had it redone in just a simple ticking stripe. I added just a bunch of pillows and some more animal print. This is another antique rug from Suzanne the Rug Dealer's shop. This red table is one of my few IKEA finds. Sadly, IKEA is probably 3 hours from us, so we don't go very often, but I just thought it's just a great little piece. This antique trolley came from Past and Presents, which is a amazing antique store in Edgartown, Martha's Vineyard. Martha's Vineyard is one of my favorite places to go. We stay at the Charlotte Inn, which is just a wonderful experience if you ever get the opportunity. I've put some of my favorite books in this little tray, some bourbon in case my husband feels like having a drink. He doesn't have to go too far from the sunroom. And just some little things that I've collected. This is another one of those little needlepoint pieces I was telling you about earlier that I picked up in one of the charity auctions for Westies. It's got a little Westie on it. I actually found these red bookcases at a garden store years ago. We wanted to have books in here, but we weren't ready to commit to doing any kind of built-ins. So I found these three, and I, as you can see, have filled them up. I have a ton of design books. I buy not all of them, but just about all of them, it feels like, because I feel like even if it's not 100% your style, you can really learn so much by reading them, and vintage to contemporary. And I also have a lot of gardening books that I have collected, learning, about which kind of flowers to plant and what's going to do well, and learning about planting and planning for a garden. This is Wellie, and he is my Westie, the official house and garden dog. He's 9 years old, and he loves to be the star of the show. I think he's probably pouting a little bit because I'm doing all the talking, and he isn't getting a lot of love. So he follows me around all day. He's kind of like my constant companion, and he loves flowers and being outside, and he's just the absolute sweetest dog that I've ever had. I had the drapes made at the same time that I had the skirted table made. I believe it was a Duraleaf fabric. I still see it sometimes online. We went with a woven bamboo blind. In the event the sun is really streaming in the winter, there's much more of a glare. Yeah, they've been here all along, even though the room has transformed a little bit. This color is Cleveland green, which I borrowed from Bunny Williams. She had her office painted that color, and I just think it's another great color for art backdrop, and everything seems to look good. It gives it kind of a cozy feel, but it's not super dark, and the white trim seems to pop, but so does the red. All right, now I'm going to take you through the foyer into the dining room. One of the great things about this house is there's kind of a great flow, so we're just going to kind of keep moving through the other doorway. This demi-lune shaped cabinet fits perfectly into the little niche here. This painting we've had since we moved here. It's a Louis Vuitton trunks painting, and these gladiolas are from the garden. I have a deer that comes and wants to eat all the gladiolas, and so I am cutting like crazy even before they're completely ready to open, because I'd rather them be in here. than him eating them all. So our foyer is kind of an unusual shape. It's kind of long and branches off in a lot of different directions. We've got another vintage Persian rug here, a bamboo chair that kind of works just about everywhere. The zebra umbrella stand was actually my grandmother's, which I think is just so cool that she had it for so long. So something I'm glad to have. Another tiny demi-lune table that I had a skirt made just to kind of make like a presence right when you first come in the door. This half wall between the foyer space and the living room always felt a little awkward, so I kind of created a table-like feel with the lamp and just a few items to kind of break the space. I think it, kind of really helped instead of having it just feel so open. This little bookcase kind of was the same thing, just looking for something to tuck right here. I love to style a bookcase and buy books. I think it's great to go to the thrift store and find good titles. I like to shop sometimes by the color of the spine or the actual title of the book. There's some really great ones in here. For example, Your Guide to Not Getting Murdered in a Quaint English Village. Being a Dog, The Prince of Nantucket, because we do like Nantucket, love that dog. So just kind of some fun things, along with some great colors. I like to buy, again, like these, cabbage terrines and tuck plants inside. This Hun Slonim bunny was a special present from my husband one Christmas, and I just love how he just kind of sits here perfectly. I always wanted a round table, and we actually have a really large, long kitchen table. So a round was a really good chance for it to be a little bit different. We actually eat all of our meals in the dining room since we got this fireplace. It felt as though we weren't using the room because we sat in the kitchen, and we were trying to come up with what would help us use this space and make it a little bit warmer. It's definitely one of the darkest rooms in the house, especially in the winter. So because this is an interior wall, we actually bought a electric fireplace and had this mantle custom made and this tile custom painted to sort of elevate the whole thing. But it is just a great mood enhancer. It warms up the space. It puts out a lot of heat actually, and just kind of helped create a focal point. These lions I picked up locally. I love to have little lamps on. I think it's okay to have the cords dangling. It kind of is what it is. This is a mirror from Wisteria. I liked the fact that the bullseye is a convex mirror, so it doesn't really reflect awkwardly. This chandelier, I found at an antique store and had to have somebody put it back together. So we tried to get creative with the crystal placement, but I do like how it looks. I went with a sunburst medallion, just one I found on Amazon. I painted it white myself. I love to set a pretty table. I like to mix and match china. Doesn't have to be expensive. It can be everyday. If you find, just 2s or 3s or 4s, that works out, especially for a table for 4. Here I have green and white stripes and leaves from Cascada, which is kind of like wonderful everyday mix and match with everything. Pink cabbageware again. Pretty napkins that I just like to collect. Simple bamboo flatware works, with everything. And these little plates are just so pretty. These little bread plates. I think sometimes you can just pick up a whole bunch of them. They function as coasters. You can use them everywhere. These chairs we found, and I had them redone. I did a animal print with this red, which is really durable. And then on the back, we went with something of a blue that has just a little hint of red. And this piece actually people assume is an old antique. It's not. It is a new piece that I purchased at a local shop. and I love the English feel of it. This china was my grandmother's, and it's very special to me. We don't tend to use it a lot, but I feel like I'm really enjoying it because I see it every day. This is one of my latest little finds, and it's an asparagus salt and pepper shaker. I just think they're adorable. I tend to collect salt and pepper shakers. I think they're fun addition to a table. I have the sweetest blue and white snails over here on the table. This was kind of a little corner that needed a something. This antique wrought iron bench has been with me for a really long time, and it's been a lot of places. It could be outside. It's been in the hallway. I tied a couple of Ballard cushions to it. It actually doesn't have a back, but this makes it look like it has a back. I had this pillow made from a vintage textile that kind of brings all the colors in together. This is Wellie's little sofa. When I brought it home, my husband said, "What on earth are you going to do with that?" But he absolutely loves it. As you can see, sometimes when he spots a deer outside, he shakes the pillows. I found the sweetest little hooked rug on Etsy, and I had to have it even though it doesn't really fit anywhere, so I think it looks cute here. This iris piece is by Jenny Andrews, and my mom loves irises, and so because of that, they're special to me as well. We have several of her pieces. My mom has a couple also. This is just another vintage Chinese lamp. I love the red shade. I have a ton of red shades in the house. I think it just adds something great. I also like black shades. Over here, I have a couple of little pieces. This was done by Shields Catone, and I love the little blue and white bowl that she has with the little heron. A lot of herons in the backyard. This is a vintage etching that I picked up. This is a Casey Hughes piece she sells every day for $125. So a great way to get one of her pieces that I had framed. This is a vintage piece I bought on Etsy. I do a lot of shopping on Etsy. I think you can find some really great things. Here is another skirted table. Hopefully I prove you can't have too many. It's actually a wicker table and it's oval, but I had the skirt made so that it can be more versatile. Now I'm going to take you to the family room down the hallway. This is a vintage Chanel advertising poster that was actually in the French subway. I bought it off of One Kings Lane. I absolutely love the color. It functions oh so slightly as a mirror, so you can bounce a little bit of view out the doors in the kitchen. This is another bamboo piece. I absolutely love bamboo furniture that we bought at Past and Presents in Martha's Vineyard. I've filled it chock full of books with a tiny little lamp. This little wicker ladybug is a favorite. I just love ladybugs. And this little picture is from an artist in Kennebunkport that we met one evening, and he invited us back to his studio and signed a print for us. And this was way before we ended up buying our house in Kennebunkport, so it's a special piece. Welcome to our family room. This is a huge 2-story living space that kind of makes you realize our house is probably newer than it may have looked in the beginning of the house. It's changed a lot, and because I've just added a ton of pattern in here. We started off with a pair of neutral sofas, and then I wanted to make it a little different. So I had this sofa recovered in a vintage Schumacher blue and white pattern. I added a bunch of throw pillows. I found this amazing Lee Joffa Althea love seat, and I couldn't pass it up, and it just kind of worked together with everything. I love a gigantic coffee table because it's fun to style with books. So I'm constantly switching it up for some of my favorites. I like to organize so that it feels like it flows. Another one of these amazing little nearly natural fake ferns. I love ferns, but they don't do well everywhere in the house because we have a lot of light. I have fun little things like this little guy that I found for $1 and little trinket boxes. This over here was a favorite find on eBay. It's a Wedgwood Westie, and you like never see these, so I was so excited to find it. I have another one of like my little Westie pillows I had made, and a Westie quilt. Normally they're kind of called Scotty quilts, but I'm gonna say it works just as good for a Westie. Wellie likes to sit here on this little cushion, so it's wrapped up and ready to go. I get a ton of compliments on this little chair. I had it reupholstered. When I bought it, it had a really pretty pattern slip cover on it, but the slip cover wasn't in the best of shape, so I changed it to this pink. I love that scalloped edge again that I was talking about before. I bought this pillow on Cherish. I thought it just fit perfectly, or actually the pillow cover. I love a little game table setup, and I managed to squash this one into this little corner back here. My mom and I like to sit here and do puzzles and stuff together. I set it up with a little checkers game. This is a vintage chessboard, Persian style. I just love the detailing on it. And these little cabbage pieces are so adorable. I had them made on Etsy a couple of years ago because I found them originally as ornaments, and I used them on my tree, and then she made them for me without the little hooks. These are 4 chairs. I found a set of 4 chairs. We only have 2 right here with this great pattern that just kind of works. I wish I knew what it was, but they're really comfortable. Parsons chair, which is like just a great style that works with everything. I chose this photograph because the herons remind me of the herons that we have here. This is more of my collected art. These are the other flower photos that were from a family friend years ago, and they're very special. This is a gorgeous needlepoint piece. I wish that my needlepoint skills were this good, but I found it online, all put together in this gorgeous frame. Here's another little cabbage. These are Holland mold cabbages, and I tend to collect them when I find them. I just think they look so cute. I found this little bamboo piece for $5 years ago. It used to be in our bathroom before we redid it, and now it holds books. This little Westie with the mouse was a gift. These club chairs I redid in a green velvet. I just love green, and I've been adding more and more of it to the space. Here's a couple more of the vintage quilts that I collect. I just find them, you know, where I like them, but I really try to get ones that have a great edge. So this one has like a zigzag edge, which is kind of why I fell in love with it. This skirted table started off actually yellow, and it's a really beautiful table, the way it's made. And the previous owner left it behind for me. It was starting to get really faded, so I just had a top made for it. And Wellie likes to go under there and hide. So it's kind of like his little serious nap spot. I like to tuck little flowers here and there. These zinnias are one of my summer favorites, and I try to plant a lot of those in the garden. This was made by somebody years ago for me, crocheted with stars. And this is a little Trisha Lowenfield pillow. I really got it for Wellie's bed, but it kind of moves all around. Here's another one of those little wheelbarrows that I was telling you about. Like I said, I just pick them up where I see them. This console table here is a lucite Jonathan Adler table. I like to have a few little modern pieces mixed in to keep things feeling fresh. and it helps divide the space from the family room into the kitchen and the breakfast table area. Here's another one of those little cabbages that I just used as a vase for some of these zinnias. This one has a little tray that it comes with. Everybody loves this pillow. It's a little beat up. It's one of the few pillows I haven't technically redone, like I was talking about earlier, a Chinese Empress. And I just think color-wise it fits in perfectly. I had it and then it ended up working perfectly with everything else. So right off of the family room, we have the kitchen and we have a gigantic farm table. This is 8 feet long and it's a river pine with walnut cabriole legs. I found these bamboo chairs for the host chairs at a local shop, and I just thought they fit perfectly with these vintage cane back chairs. I bought them like this and just had the seats redone. I got 6 for $100, which was a really exciting find. They are so comfortable. I wish I could duplicate them. I love the rug, which is another great find from Susie and the Rug Dealer's shop, and I think it just kind of really warms up the space. We used to have a seagrass rug in here, which made the whole thing feel a lot more neutral, and this just seemed like it warmed it up and made the space fit a little bit more with the front of the house. This table is great for setting up flower arrangements. These little moss ball vases were made by the local florist for me, and I just like to poke like little things in them. This is where we go outside. We have a beautiful view that we absolutely love, a really large deck, and then we have steps that lead down into the fenced cottage garden, which is my favorite space in the summer. And I'll show you that later. But in the meantime, let me show you the rest of the kitchen. I found this tray years ago, and we kind of put all of our little liquor here. This piece was done by Emma Wills in England. It's another little portrait of Wellie. These vintage chairs are wrought iron and really heavy, and we bought them after going to Trade Secrets and seeing everybody use like some of these great pieces inside. I just kind of couldn't resist them. Another Westie needlepoint find, which came from Tally Ho Slipcovers. She has an Etsy shop, and I was so excited to see this because you don't see them very often. I absolutely love topiaries, and normally I have a lot more, but I have some in the garage hospital because they got a little dry with the sun. This one is my very special piece. I bought it at Shop Mance, which is there in Georgetown, and we took it kind of on a bit of a road trip, and you wouldn't realize how hard it is to sit like perfectly straight up because it had to sit on the floor of the back seat to make it all the way home because we were driving around to a bunch of other places for a few days. And I just love it. So it sits right here. Our kitchen is really big. It's a neutral kitchen, so even though it hasn't been updated, I do feel like a white or off-white kitchen just kind of works with everything, and you can just add a lot of color to it or not a lot of color, whatever you want to do. This island is really huge. We have a cooktop range here, and I love these big hurricane candles just for a little ambiance in the evenings. We also have some lamps stuck on the counters. Here's more of the gladiolas I was telling you about. They're not really blooming yet, but I didn't want the deer to eat them last night. On our way up the stairs to show you the bedrooms, I just thought I'd point out this chest. It is hand painted. Everybody loves it. I just thought it was a great garden inspired piece with the wood top. I don't think it's really old, but it kind of looks old. And I just kind of style it differently for the seasons, plants, flowers, just like little odds and ends candles. These little matchboxes are left over from our wedding with the ginger jar. And now I'll take you up the back stairs to see the bedrooms. Welcome to our primary bedroom. This bedroom is absolutely so large. I had a really hard time figuring out how to set it up because it's L-shaped. We created a sitting area here with our little balcony, and I have another skirted table and plenty of books, lamps, bamboo furniture, great artwork. This piece from One Kings Lane is a vintage color study. I think it's really cool with the green. It's a little bit of modern mixed in with a lot of traditional. There's another one of those irises that I was telling you about downstairs. When we first moved here, we had carpet upstairs, and when we needed to replace the carpet, we decided instead of doing carpet that we would put hardwood here as well, and then we would be able to add a lot of rugs. This was also really nice to have a fireplace, but it just had some plain tile and no detailing, so we had the same tile that we have downstairs painted for the fireplace and had a mantle and this paneling built for this whole two sides to kind of make the space feel a lot more traditional and classic, but also help it be a real focal point. We have a lot of little bamboo pieces like this cabinet, which is also from Edgartown. More rugs from Suzanne the rug dealer. These are Wellie's Versatile steps. My friend Jenny has a great company called Versatile, and these are the sturdiest steps that you have ever seen. You can separate them and use them as tables, you know, for people or kids too. So these are really helpful. Wellie's got a lot of little vintage quilts that he sleeps, and here's just another one of the Westies that I collect. This bamboo mirror was a really favorite find. I just think it's so cute. And here's some more pictures of my Wellie. This is really the room that I would say is my kind of ode to blue and white. I fell in love with this periwinkle blue color, which is Instinct from Benjamin Moore, and I think it works really well with the white. This is one of the pair, and the other one's on the other side of the bed of the very first vintage rugs that I purchased, and it just led me to wanting to collect them. This piece, I found this green quilted fabric and had it reupholstered. It was a different color when we first started the room before I switched to the whole blue and white thing. I just love collecting, you know, pillows and having simple ones made. Garden stools, I think, work inside and out. I have several outside as well as inside. The mirrored chests are larger than most nightstands, but we do like the size, and I think it adds just a little bit of like modern touch. This pair of lamps is a favorite with the butterflies. The hydrangeas are from the garden. I found these this pair of mirrors online. The sheets are Schweitzer. I love their patterns, and I've mixed a couple here. The lovable 21 hearts are a favorite, and this is the Melody. This beautiful chintz is a vintage Schumacher fabric, and I found about 30 yards of it, and it was kind of my inspiration for the whole room. So I had this old settee that we had. It used to be yellow corduroy covered, and this is a John Robeshaw pillow. Okay, a lot of the tiles have special meaning to us. I have one painted with Wellie. Here's the sunburst, a lot of herons and birds, and some gardening inspiration. This little chair I also had reupholstered, a vintage find. This is my all-time absolute most special Westie needlepoint pillow. I had the needlepoint, and then I had it redone into this pillow with this great little fabric and fringe. My husband bought this antique bamboo desk for me. He bid on it online. I don't think he thought he was gonna win, but he did. I love to find like just tiny little treasures like these little pieces and stick them around. I was searching for a piece of furniture that I could add to this corner of the bedroom, and because the room is kind of unusually large, we already have a lot of chairs. So I went with a china cabinet that I bought at Stanella Antiques, and I just have a lot of really pretty books, little knickknacks, some coral pieces that I've collected, a few special Westie pieces, that were gifts, some blue and white ginger jars, and it's just a nice, I think a nice way to add something unexpected to a bedroom. Welcome to our primary bathroom. I know that a lot of people have seen this on Instagram, so I'm really excited to share it with you. This space was completely different when we bought the house. It was a lot of pinkish mauve brown tile, glass block window, huge jacuzzi tub, and it took us a really long time to figure out what we wanted to do to make it different. After staying at the Graydon house in Nantucket, I fell in love with their showers because they had blue and white tile murals in the shower, and I wanted to recreate that. So I had the lady that did the tiles on the fireplace do a gigantic mural. It's three-sided, and it's basically a chinoiserie inspired version of our backyard. It's a really large shower. It's 5 by 7, and it used to be this way, and it was a really long dark space, so we turned the shower sideways so that we could have the mural go all the way around the room. We've got herons, blue and white pots, little ducks, all kinds of butterflies and birds, the bridge that you see outside, and it's really, like, I think one of my most favorite spaces in the house is this bathroom. I'm really, really excited and proud about how it came out. It was a ton of fun to work on. We went with a new but really traditional style consoles, sinks here. This wall actually slopes down. It's over our garage. We had small mirrors made at the local framing shop with this great bamboo because a regular mirror was going to be too tall. I love having 2 small towel bars, and it's a great way to hide an outlet. I picked up on this from Caroline Gidier. I hope I say that right. And she was so generous. I had reached out to her to ask her the measurement of the towel bar, and she told me it's 9 inches. So we bought the towel bars and we had them cut to fit. These are visual comfort sconces and just like a really nice classic look. But I did buy this chandelier. I fell in love with the Delft chandelier, but the shades were kind of like the icing on the cake. And I just bought that small medallion, which seemed to fit perfectly. And we put that up. I went with a piece of furniture here, another find from Stanella. It actually ties into the one that's in our living room. And we keep a lot of toiletry items and stuff in here, hidden away, but still accessible. This is kind of a really, it looks pretty, but functions so well. We've got mouthwash and a really, pretty decanter, beautiful, but really simple cups from Amazon. They just look pretty. A tissue box cover, also from Amazon. I keep my daily contact lenses in here. Q-tips in a little cup. It just makes it easy and accessible. One of our contractors who took it out of an old house in the area several years ago and never used it, we had it redone. And I don't actually really take baths, but I do bathe Wellie in it. So this handheld from Newport Brass is really great and useful. These little vintage botanicals I found framed this way. I thought they fit in perfectly with the dark green. Originally, we were going to cover the window with an interior shutter, and then I thought, why not go with a curtain? I found these vintage chintz curtains online, and I just thought they worked perfectly. So I went with that. Rug is also from Suzanne the Rug Dealer. I get a lot of comments about having a rug in a bathroom. We do have a great ventilation system. We have windows that open, the floor is heated. It doesn't get wet when you get out of the shower. We have plenty of room for a bath mat. And I do think it just adds a lot to the space and makes it feel warm. It brings like some warm red tones in, and that's echoed a few other places in the room. I've got the idea of putting a portrait somewhere in the house. And when we were away in Charleston, I found this painting, and it kind of reminds me of me a little bit when I was in like 7th grade. I had short hair like that. So it also had a red dress, and it just felt great. One of my neighbors asked if it was a painting of my mom when she was young, so it fits in well. I had just this little skirted vanity table made with that same chintz. I found the sweetest little pair of lamps. They're almost like little topiaries, and my neighbor Shelly made these little shades for me, which I think they're absolutely adorable. And you can see right here, just really sweet. And this was another favorite find. It's just a tiniest lipstick towel. I love the idea of, you know, nowadays we have makeup towels, but I guess in the 50s they had lipstick towels, and it has a tiny little Westie on it, so I had to have it. This was just a one-off find from Etsy. It's just a great little sconce, and I thought it sort of suited the wall like all by itself. I added some vintage art, and a little bit more red with that cardinal because we do like birds. And then there's another vintage needlework piece. And I love a lamp behind the toilet. I definitely would recommend, if you're remodeling, sticking an outlet behind your toilet for something like this. I bought this curio cabinet from Stanella to use for towels. I love the fact that all the glass allows you to see the pretty patterns. So we have a lot of like small patterned towels, some scalloped edge with the hearts by Schweitzer, some toilet paper, and I've got some extra stuff down at the bottom. And just a nice way to use furniture, since we don't have, you know, built-in vanities underneath the sink. I decided to use a garden stool instead of cutting into the tile to hold the shampoo containers. And I do love the look, so I plan to do that in Maine and just use garden stools for everything. They're obviously made to get wet, so no issues there. So advise a shower door that swings both ways. We went with unlacquered brass. Not everybody would choose it, but I just love the patina. And this is from Newport Brass. This is great for washing the dog. I mean, I'm sure it's great for other stuff too, but I'm not a bath person, so I use it for Wellie. When we stayed at the Inn at Little Washington, they had these on all the doors instead of do not disturb signs, and they sell them at the little shop. I just think it's the sweetest. My mom only lives about an hour away from us, but she spends a lot of time here, especially since my dad passed away. So a few years ago, we decided to completely redo this guest room and make it a room specifically for her. So I started with the rug because her favorite color is blue, and then we sort of built from there. It's just a really cozy, layered space. It's a soft red called Moroccan Spice from Benjamin Moore, and she gets the morning sun and it just completely glows. She really loves it. I found these on Cherish during COVID and had to drive to New Jersey to get them. I had the pillows and the bed skirt and everything made with vintage Schumacher fabric. The headboard was just like a not very expensive find that we reupholstered. This is a Swan's Island blanket that was a present years ago. And this really, really soft, like velvety quilt, or I guess it's velvety, fleecy, is from LL Bean. The scalloped sheets are Land's End. They're really soft. I got some little flowers from the garden, a vintage needlepoint bench that she can put some stuff on. This Brighton settee was from Gone Girl Consignment, and I was so excited to find it. I had the cushion made to match the pillows. Another bamboo piece full of books. Obviously another garden stool, because blue and white and garden stools just kind of work everywhere. It's great to have some extra spots to put things down. My mom loves birds and hummingbirds, so I have some vintage hummingbird plates here that I bought already framed. So it's been a fun collection. I found this great lantern, and it's just kind of a favorite. We exchanged the fan for the light, and then I found that little medallion that has like pretty much the very same pattern that you see in the lantern, which I thought was so cool. So we added that. Coming here, she said it feels, so wonderful when she wakes up and knows that she's here with us. So it's just really special to me. I got this mirror, which has carved birds from the previous homeowners, and the lamps we found in Richmond. And I found the sweetest little shades. I love the way the little flowers are punched out, and it just kind of gives that really pretty glow. I always use these covered tissue boxes. I either go with the wicker or these, and there's always nice to have like a little plate or a tray. And then these little flower frogs, there's no flowers in it, but it just looks nice like on display. And I always think if you have a vase that looks good empty, it's nice because you don't always have to have something in it. Some vases feel like they don't look great if there's nothing in it. So better this way. We've got a vintage wicker stand that I just filled with some great books to display. Now we're in our upstairs hall, and I'm going to take you to see the hall bathroom. But first I thought I'd point out a few little pieces. We didn't have a ton of wall space because the other side is open. So I found a really tiny bamboo piece to stick here, and some vintage shells that needlepoint. And we have a lamp that comes on in the evenings. And then I have another bamboo cabinet full of books, and I just think it adds a lot to the hallway. This is actually in front of what used to be a linen closet, so it was nothing but like a row of doors. And when we redid the bathroom, we took the linen closet out to make the bathroom bigger, and I was able to get a wall that I could put a piece of furniture on. So this is the hall bathroom. It is completely different than how it used to be. It used to be L-shaped, and when you walked in, there was 2 sinks, and then it turned, and there was a door to the guest room, and then another door for the toilet and shower. So it was kind of a tight space, and we opened it up into one large space, and the shower is the same space and size as it originally was. We went with this WS Bath console sink. I love the chrome legs. We did the same thing again with the towel bars, kind of hiding the outlets, and another set of visual comfort sconces. This is a Michael Smith mirror that used to be in our dining room, just a little hydrangea from the garden. These are those Schweitzer towels in pink. They also come in blue, the lovable 21 hearts. I've got another little bamboo piece like squashed in the corner with a little painting of a robin. that I found on Etsy. In order to get some storage, we put in a little bookcase that we use for towels and soaps, mouthwash. The whole room actually came together based on this picture that I found online. It's I think it's a Jose Escoffier, if I'm saying that right. I saw one at the Charlotte Inn, and I found this one, and I went with another vintage Harris rug, and I tied the tile in on the floor here to the colors in the room. I bought this antique milk glass lantern from an antique store in Massachusetts, and I just love the way it feels in the space, and it kind of echoes the flowers. I like the medallion. I've had a lot of fun finding inexpensive medallions and, you know, just painting them. I think it sets off the vintage lighting.
Thanks for watching. Go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content and shopping guides.